Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I am, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I'm joined by my buddy Myron.
Good evening, folks and fans. I hope everyone's doing well tonight, and I hope everyone found some wrestling they could watch this week and enjoy it.
Yeah, take a little break from the elections and all that good stuff, and now that the elections are over, we can all get back to our regular, normal broadcast service, right?
All that shit's a work, folks. All that shit's a work. Just enjoy the shoot.
They're all two sides to the same coin. Don't let them fool you. But you know who's going to run, man? I'm convinced. You know what's going to happen?
Who?
The Rock. Chris Jericho's convinced.
He has my vote.
He hasn't even announced he's going to run, and you've already voted for him.
I would vote for him the second he was on a ballot. I'm not lying. I would vote for The Rock so fast it would make people's heads spin. Because, I mean, he's The Rock. He's probably had the most important impact on my life than anyone. By far, no one in the political world has done me like that before and appealed to me like that. Can
you imagine a State of the Union address starting The Rock says?
It would be the best damn State of the Union there ever was.
And even better, it would, can you imagine him threatening to like lay the smackdown on some, politician, some prime minister or some, something like that from somewhere.
That's awesome.
Be awesome.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. I mean, Jericho's joked about it. He thinks that The Rock could win. I mean, he's, because Rock's teased it. He was in an interview in GQ. I think it was like last year, year before, something like that. He was on Ellen. He teased it. And Chris Jericho says it best. I mean, Trump has proved that money and charisma can win you an election. It's really simple.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And Chris Jericho knows more about that kind of stuff than almost anybody in the business. He knows how people are motivated. He knows how to feel crowds. He knows how to make things work. If he says it, I wouldn't doubt anything. I wouldn't doubt it at all.
Well, I mean, but come on. What he's saying is just factual. I mean, he basically says that Donald Trump knew how to deliver lines. He was engaging. I mean, people don't want to talk about it. I mean, you can have your political sides, but he won because he was just a charismatic dude. And do we know anybody more charismatic than The Rock? I mean,
no, The Rock is probably to me, the most charismatic man in the world. Look how he's built a film career, and he's been able to achieve so much and become so over from wrestling. And he didn't have that stigma of wrestling like a lot of guys coming out of the business have.
Well,
he was bigger than that.
We have mutual female friends that they don't watch wrestling. They don't like wrestling. But I can say The Rock, and they're like, oh, I'll go see that movie.
Yeah, they undoubtedly. Yeah, my girlfriend undoubtedly loves The Rock more than anything and anyone.
Do you want a conundrum? I have a total conundrum for all the women, like especially like your girlfriend.
Yeah.
If The Rock ran as a Republican.
She'd still vote for him, I think. Well, she's not always been
I know.
hardcore Democrat, but she would definitely vote for The Rock if he ran as a Republican.
Yeah, well, she wouldn't care what his political party was. She
not
would
in
vote
the
for him
slightest.
Anyway.
Not in the slightest.
And here's the sad part is Chris Jericho did say something, and it's so true. It's kind of scary though that you could win just by being popular and engaging. It doesn't have anything to do with being qualified or anything like that. You could just.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, Schwarzenegger won governor for California. I mean, Trump's the president. I mean, it's
an amazing world we live in.
It's crazy.
I mean, Ronald Reagan was the first guy that really did it.
That is true.
And he was successful at it. So, more power to him.
Well, I agree. But, that's just kind of where we are in politics. And, was there anything more political that you can think of recently in the pro wrestling world since Crown Jewel? I mean, that was
Crown Royal. What I keep calling.
I know what you're thinking about already.
I love Crown Royal. Crown Jewel was it was almost a tipping point in the wrestling business, and I'm glad it's over, folks. I was sick and tired of hearing it. Even if I did agree with some of the stuff they were saying, I just want to enjoy wrestling, and that's just me. I just want to enjoy the wrestling and it not be controversial.
Yeah, I don't watch wrestling for political issues and for political I put a tweet out or I said something, I can't remember how it happened, but I remember thinking, if you're looking to wrestling for morality, boy, your life's gone wrong somewhere.
How did we get to that point? I mean, but do people expect that out of everything these days, or just people just want to judge and criticize the shit out of everything these days?
I think it's both. Everybody wants to be on the moral high horse, and some of us just I like my wrestling a little greasy.
Well, I mean, wrestling is a greasy business. It's basically carnival barking that has worked its way into a sport.
If your wrestling doesn't have a little bit of grease on it, it ain't right.
No,
right,
the best wrestling.
Right, Gary?
Yes. On Greasy Gary up here in Canton. Yeah, but that was a great show, wasn't it?
Oh, we're going to get there. I got a whole segment to set aside for that, so we don't have to listen to him complain. Because we actually did. We had such a great time. We're going to talk about it. But, back to Crown Jewel, I'm probably going to talk a little more about it because I know you said you didn't even watch it.
No. I don't have to watch it. I wasn't really interested in anything they were doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to watch this. I didn't say, oh, fuck that shit, they're ruining the business, Vince doesn't care, blah, blah, blah. I just didn't watch it. It wasn't a moral decision. It's 12 o'clock on a Friday.
Some people were working, right?
Yeah, I didn't have to. I mean, we did our podcast work, but I didn't have to go to work. I had the day off.
Well, look, again, we'll get to it. We were driving to Canton. I mean, we were busy. We had stuff to do. I mean, we were working.
But that's an impossible time. Noon on a weekday is a horrible time for anything. The only people that were watching it live were the smarts sitting home in their mother's basement, jacking off to Dave Meltzer stories.
Well, I mean, I'm going a little out of order on my notes here, but I mean, everybody's like, well, I'm sick of these things, these specials. And if they had not put this on the network, everybody was complaining about it.
Bingo.
So, I mean, they put it on there, and like you said, you could have watched it Friday night, you could have watched it Saturday night, you could have watched Sunday night, and like Myron did, if it wasn't something you were interested in, you didn't have to watch it at all.
No, like Saturday night we went to another wrestling show, so we got plenty of wrestling in and didn't have to watch this. You don't like it, don't watch it. Don't bitch about it.
Oh, I did. I went back and watched it. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. I watched 95% of it. There were some stuff I didn't watch. I'm not going to get.
I'm just saying that people think that they're going to be required by law to watch every time the WWE puts anything on, like any form of electronics, TV, internet. Oh, I got to watch it. WWE did it, and I'm going to bitch about it. Maybe if you didn't watch as much, you'd quit bitching about it so much.
Yeah. And the stuff they complained about, man, look, I hate to be the WWE apologist, but it's going to break into segments because this is literally things that happened on the show, are going to split off into splinters. So it's not tangents, guys. We're going to do the best we can to cover it the way that it makes sense.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I'm going to start with the Brothers of Destruction versus DX match. Everybody crapped on the old timers being in there. Shouldn't have been on there. They blah, 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 on and on and on. They're too old.
Yeah.
Okay, first and foremost, that match fell apart because of Triple H's injury, which we're going to talk about in a second.
Yeah, it was kind of a big deal.
Well, Meltzer has said that it's completely, the match fell apart. They had to call everything in the ring. Shawn wasn't probably supposed to do near as much as he ended up doing, and they just kind of had to piece the match together because Triple H just couldn't do much.
And Shawn, I didn't see the match, but I can imagine he's of the ones that were in the match, he's done the least work in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, there was ring rust there. I mean, it was what it was. But like I said, I would lay money on it. He wasn't supposed to do that much in the ring, but had to because of what happened. I mean, he's still going to do what he can to take care of his boy. I mean, because Triple H. We'll go ahead and sidebar into that. We'll get back to this that match in a minute, because nostalgia has its place, just so people know. I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you're not a fan, it was it's another, everybody complains about taking up spots on 4-hour pay-per-views. Nostalgia has its place. There is an audience for that. It may not be yours. That's your bathroom break, because you need one in a 4-hour pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's 4. I mean, seriously, it's 4 hours, and they shove it full of those hype reels and those recaps and to set all the stage up. If it's something you don't like, yeah, you go make a sandwich, go take a dump, do whatever you need to do.
And you know what? With the when you saw that Undertaker, Kane, the Brothers Destruction DX promo starting, the hype video, like you said,
you just turn it off.
Because you mean between the hype video, Undertaker's entrance, and the match and the after match, I'm like, dude, you got all kinds of time. Go make you something to eat, go to the bathroom, come back, you're good. Mine's typically when the 205 Live match comes on the card, I typically go. Now, 8 would have bit me in the ass on the Super Show, the Australian show they did. That was a great match. But, I mean, that's not my thing.
The problem with the 205 is they're great matches. Most of the time they're phenomenal matches. The problem I have with them is I don't know the guys, and I have problems, watching stuff I don't know who it is or what they're doing. So that was my problem. And that's why I typically don't watch the 205 stuff.
Yeah.
But then again, I only watch wrestling I'm interested in. End of story.
Well, and you're kind of a casual guy too, believe it or not. I mean, I would say that you are. You like you're more of a representation of a casual fan.
For the WWE, yes. I want to see the Gaga, and I want to see the guys I like, and I want to see that kind of stuff.
Right. So you have no issue, but now, now we're, obviously the Triple H injury caused issues with this match, but you still got the nostalgia of those guys in the ring. Mm-hmm. But there's also, Triple H put the picture up. I don't know if you saw it today. Oh God, was it ugly?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
When he's going for surgery tomorrow / today, if you're listening to us on Wednesday.
Yeah.
They're saying 5 to 9 months. If he's out for more than 6 months or more, WrestleMania is out, and we all know I think they were clearly heading towards Batista and Triple H at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that was their deal. I really think that's what they wanted to do. And
that would suck.
I don't really care to see that. I love nostalgia, but I really don't see where Batista is nostalgia for me. It's not just part of it. I didn't pop for Evolution. I'm not against it. Wasn't my thing, but I don't see where this is that big a deal. So I'm just not interested. So I could care less. I love Triple H. He's probably my all-time favorite, but if it is what it is. You're not going to get it. If you can't get it, let's work around it. And the WWE can call stuff on the fly and adapt and make stuff happen. I think they're better than anybody else in the business at that.
I'm agreeing with you, man. I'm just disappointed. I did want to see it. I don't know. It's just, I think it would be more, like I said, the casual fan. I mean, come on. You're going to have wrestling people, non-wrestling fans. Like Drax is going to be at WrestleMania. He's going to wrestle, and so I think it would have drawn in, especially some of the casual fans. That is a good thing,
and they do that a lot with the WWE for WrestleMania. They like to get that match that gets people outside of the business watching it, and that's a big deal. That draws tickets because they're not worried about impressing the people that are going to watch every show. They've already got you. They're worried about getting in that money that they don't get every week.
Right. They want the guy who doesn't watch every week. They want him to watch. That's the big challenge. So, but of course some people would lead you to believe that the WWE doesn't care. They don't care what their fans think. Because obviously everybody knows I'm referring to Brock Lesnar winning the Universal title over Braun Strowman at the Crown Jewel. But you had a reason why you thought, I'll let you go first. What the reason why you thought it happened that way? And then I'm going to give my reason I think it happened that way.
First I'm going to go on and I'm going to say, look, I'm tired of hearing the WWE doesn't care about me. The WWE, I'm not going to keep my membership. I'm dropping my network membership. I'm going to go I'm going to do this. I'm going to go blah, blah. They're killing the business. No, they're not, because they're making more money than they ever have before with fewer fans. They're doing stuff that people like. The people that like it typically got better shit to do than to sit on the internet and complain about it. Bingo. That's my take. But I think what happened was because of Brock.
Braun.
Never can say that right. When I have to do the two of them in a match, I never get it right. Braun's injured. he has problems with both knees. And right now he's got a quarterback and be the guy that's going to carry the program until we can get a break and something set up for after Roman. Okay, that Roman thing, seems to me like it was a giant surprise. Am I the only one that took it that way?
Well, no, it total blindsided them. We're going to go into several things that it completely, and again, we don't want to say like poor WWE's, having to deal with Roman got and, his leukemia is back. I mean, it's poor Roman. I mean, having to deal with it. But yeah, WWE's having to deal with the fallout of it as well, and nowhere near the same way. But we're talking pro wrestling, so we kind of from that perspective.
Yeah, you have to come up with something new to run your entire company at the drop of a hat, $1 billion company, and that's tough. That's really tough. So Braun was the guy that is charismatic. He's likable. He's got a huge fan following. Even when they try to make him heel, people still aren't going to boo him because he's Braun Strowman. So you get that going on, and the best thing they could done, they put it on Brock and have Braun chase him. What's wrong with that?
I agree with you. I think we've had this conversation. I even put it on Twitter. I commented on somebody else's post about Braun. I don't think Braun needs the belt. Period.
No, Braun doesn't need the belt. He's, like you said, he's an attraction. He's like Andre the Giant. They didn't need to put the belt on Andre the Giant. The belt was not better off with Andre, and Andre was not better off with the belt.
I just think Braun just needs to, he should have the attitude. He just whips everybody's ass, and the title doesn't mean anything to him. He doesn't need it. He doesn't want it. Doesn't care.
Exactly. Best thing for him. I don't know why people, they have experience doing this. And I keep saying that. They know how to book this stuff. They know what to do. And they were in a situation where they had to make a call on the fly. And they also did that thing at Crown Jewel where you made them think they were doing, they made you think they were doing a call on the fly. And I praise Shane's, ability to handle something like on the fly like he did, where he just totally turned around and figured out how to make things work once the Miz got hurt.
Yeah, it turns out that was all the work, but we'll come back to that. We'll come back to it. Let me get, I'll tell you, cause it's always one of those things when we're talking about, everybody wants to criticize WWE booking before we know where we're going.
Yeah.
So to me personally, this is probably not true, but I could see this happening. Everybody knows that they're moving to Fox.
Yes.
In the fall. Everybody knows that there was the rumor out there that they wanted to be more sports oriented. They wanted Daniel Cormier on commentary. Daniel Cormier has even confirmed that the WWE did call him. Mm-hmm. They did schedule a tryout for commentary. They've had to reschedule it a couple times so it didn't happen. But he's saying all of this is true.
Yep.
Okay, he just won a fight at UFC 230 and just called out the WWE champion Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is it too far-fetched to believe that we're either going to see Brock Lesnar and Daniel Cormier in a UFC fight fighting for the UFC titles? And how about UFC and WWE working together and we turn out and we get a worked match in the WWE with Daniel Cormier and Brock Lesnar, because then the wrestling world, because everybody outside the wrestling world who's into the UFC will know who he is already. Everybody that's in the wrestling world that doesn't watch MMA will learn who he is through that process.
How about that for an announcement and an introduction to somebody? Going up against the WWE champion at a big show like that, sets up a match, he comes in and then he goes to commentary. I think it's great. I would be looking forward to that, and I would watch the UFC match. And that's the thing they've done lately. Why is UFC doing such a good job of getting me?
They're doing pro wrestling better than pro wrestling. They're doing,
I have never had the slightest interest in watching UFC. And in the last 3-4 months now, it's like, I'm not going to watch that UFC. Because I think they're hitting it. They're figuring out, and they're booking like WWE. Maybe they've got, maybe Pat sitting out by the pool helping them do this shit.
I mean, I'm just saying, I love it gets DC in the mix. It gets, Brock, because the new deal he apparently, by the way, he was done. Everybody was saying that it was supposed to be booked. Roman was going over at Crown Jewel. Brock was going off to UFC. They basically had to sign him to a new deal, put the belt on him, and it's actually an open-ended deal where he's allowed to fight at UFC anytime he wants to. Like, it's not an exclusive deal this time. He can go off and fight. And I'm sitting there saying, I would not be shocked if somehow this was all together and worked together because if DC knows maybe he knows his last UFC fight is a big money fight versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And then he's going to show, and then he's going to roll on into, Smackdown and become a commentator in his next career after UFC because he's tired of getting his face punched for real.
Yeah. And it's not like you're going to make shit money working for WWE in that position.
Well, you just don't get hit for real. And in the sense that if he becomes a commentator.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he becomes a commentator who gets in the ring every now and then.
That's happened before.
It happens.
They've done that angle before. It's not, that's the thing about it. It's not like if they do that, they're not doing anything they haven't done before. It's a solid thing. It's something that they've made work in the past.
Yeah.
Hell, even Jerry the King went back and got in the ring.
It's not an abnormal thing, but like I said, with the Fox deal, we knew lots of big things were going to happen. And for me, if you don't think it's possible, this could be plan B. This could be plan C for crying out loud.
Yeah. And it's whatever they got.
We heard rumor that Survivor Series wasn't even supposed to be Raw versus SmackDown this year, and with Roman going out, because apparently Vince didn't want Roman and AJ having a match. So, but once the wheels fell off the train with Roman, getting leukemia, or his leukemia coming back. I keep saying it came back.
Yeah, I'm having trouble because that's the thing. When I talked to David McKinney for the last episode of Shoots Fired, he was talking to me about the fact that somebody had said in an interview that one of his old teammates was having some serious, like football guys, was saying he was dealing with some serious health issues, but that's all that happened about it because nobody looked up to see which teammate it was, and so I don't know. That part about him having leukemia before was hidden so well, which in a world where nothing is hidden anymore. That was one of the things that made me not buy it when it first came out, because, there was they saying he had a serious health condition in the past that no one knew about. And that kind of threw me for a loop. It's this, I wasn't expecting it. And, he got me, and I'm sad it happened, but I didn't believe it at first. And I think it was a shock, and they had done such a good job of building him as a huge, the big guy, that he couldn't be vulnerable and that be found out.
Could be. Yeah. But like
I think that would have hurt him. I think that would have hurt his rep.
Could be. And like I said, well, speaking of his rep hurt, I think that was why Vince didn't want him and Styles wrestling it. I don't think he wanted either one with a loss. But once everything kind of got sideways with all the situation, it's just easier to just go back to we don't have to think about booking. We can just go back to Raw versus SmackDown. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, it was convenient.
And I'm stoked about that. I like the old traditional Survivor Series. I think it's good. It'll give them something to do, and they don't even have to get all complicated and think about the booking and work on it. It's just Survivor Series. Throw the show. Throw it out there.
It's easy, and it looks like it could turn out to be okay. They're putting together some pretty good stuff. The teams of 5, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. But, Brock versus AJ, should be pretty good again. Becky and Ronda, I think, is going to be it's going to be a sleeper match that everybody's going to be completely.
That's the match. That's the match I really want to see. I think that's probably going to be my favorite match of it. And they're doing a magical job building up heat, the two of them are. Yeah. Have you seen any of that?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. They've done a great job with those two, which isn't surprising to me at all. I think people that want to crap on Ronda are going to be surprised. And I think Becky's going to take that. This is an opportunity for Becky to get a lot of, people crap on when I say putting her in the ring with Ronda is going to be a huge thing for both of them. Ronda's going to learn how to work with somebody really well. And Becky's going to get a rub from us, from a mainstream media superstar.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's going to be the best thing possible, either one of them. And also, you're going to get a terrific match. You saw that Becky Charlotte match. It's going to be a badass knockdown, drag out women's wrestling match.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like a great card. I'm looking forward to Survivor Series.
Yeah. Now, before we get too far into Survivor Series, I want to go back to my last note on Crown Jewel, and it was kind of tied all in there with, it's another creature that I believe Fox is creating. Everybody knows, the one thing everybody really wants to crap on there. Those were the kind of the three big things I feel like everybody crapped on. Was the nostalgia match, Brock winning the belt, and Shane McMahon winning the tournament, the best in the world.
Well, he didn't really win a tournament. I mean, he was substituted himself in at the last match.
Well, yes. And I think his overreaction at the end, it's all being reported that this was the plan all along. There was no legit injury to Miz. He was selling it on SmackDown.
He's a heel. God damn it. I can't do that as well as Bruce Pritchard does it.
Well, I mean, that's Miz. But what we're hearing is that it sounds like Shane's heading that way.
Love it. I love it. I think that's the best way you can book this kind of thing.
Well, it's simple. Fox wants...
Face turn Miz?
No, it's not going to be Miz. I don't think Miz is going to be the face turn. I think what I'm saying he's going to be the heel is because Fox probably wants the heel authority figure, or WWE wants the heel authority figure on SmackDown because that's what they know. That's what they do.
Yeah, and, they did a really good job with that whole Mr. McMahon thing once upon a time.
Now.
So it's good. That's when the business was the hottest.
I think that the heel authority storyline has run its course. They're going to have to come up with something as a twist to make it, revitalize it for me.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's what they know. It's what they're comfortable with. And the casual audience, that's, the people that used to watch that now are watching casual TV or whatever, that may be what they want as well. So that may be where we're heading. Long term, again, same thing. Are they planning Crown Jewel? Were they laying seeds for things for next year? Same thing we're talking about with the Brock Lesnar match. We crapped on it right now, but maybe they're heading somewhere down the road, right?
No, they're booking so far out. That's the important thing to remember, folks, is they're booking this stuff years in advance. They try to make it all work, and there's something comes up like Roman's cancer, that throws their giant long-term plans off. But they try to book this stuff out as far as they can go. They want to have plans at least a year in advance for everything. They want to have everything ready to go to Fox so that when that happens, it's the set deal. It's not like they're not doing things casually. They're doing exactly what the plan they want because they like to have a plan. They like to work stuff out. It's kind of brilliant when you think about it. I really like what they do. I'd like to, as long as I don't know, I don't hear the spoilers about who it's going to be at WrestleMania. If it's this year's WrestleMania and I'm already hearing what's going to happen at next year's WrestleMania before this year's WrestleMania happens, I don't like that kind of stuff. They can just do their stuff and I don't want to read the spoilers. I'm not a fan of spoilers. I want to experience the wrestling,
You want to be surprised, yeah.
I want to be surprised, and that's my whole thing with it. And I think too few people focus on spoilers.
I agree, 100%. But you know what, man? I tell you a place that we were surprised, and I'm not gonna even mince words with it. Southern Honor Wrestling up in Canton, Georgia, is probably one of the. It's got the hottest buzz behind an indie promotion that I've heard in a long, long time.
Yes. And it's unique in the business. Now, I've talked about and praised Anarchy and the Landmark Arena for their level of production. And I've praised Southern Fried for the level of the quality of the wrestling. But when you bring those two things together, you get something magical. And that show was magical. It was like a WWE taping to me. That's why if I were to identify it, what did you take? Like, I basically went to a smaller venue WWE taping.
Well, I mean, I'll be a little more realistic in the sense I thought it was a very solid, like, Ring of Honor level production. I mean, they had the jumbo screens, the production set that they had was awesome.
Yeah.
The
definitely.
audio, the venue, I love that it was dark.
Yes, that presentation is so nice.
It really is. And, and the funny thing is we talked about it last week with Evolution, the women's pay-per-view. Man, I don't know that I'm not saying I wouldn't necessarily be a fan of going back to that all over the place. Lowering the lights down when the matches are happening and just having the light focused right on the ring. Now, I get they want hey, we sold 16,000 seats, so we want the world to see 16,000.
Or we sold 16,000 banners around the arena that everybody needs to see.
That's the part, right? Exactly. But I'm me, I'm not a fan of that. So that's kind of why I'm more. I mean, just give me. But back to Southern Honor Wrestling, man. The wrestling was good. The sound was good. The production all around was good. Austin Theory was there. AC Mack was there. David Ali was there. Shannon Moore was there. And here's the crazy thing. They're coming back December 7th, in Canton, Georgia. And their Theory's coming back. But they're bringing Kiera Hogan in from Impact. They're bringing Ray Fury in. Those three names alone are three of the hottest names in indie wrestling right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely. And that's what I love about the Impact contracts. They can go work someplace else and do other things. So you get the best of both worlds. You can see them up close and personal, and you can see them on television. And the amount of talent they're booking in there, and I think everybody knows, they got Southern Honor Wrestling is back fairly substantially. It's they've got the money and they've got the time and they can do this, and it's perfect.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Southern Honor Wrestling one more time is that it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't, all that stuff. Keep it simple, and when I mean simple, keep your eye on the prize. Don't try to do too much too soon. Which we spoke to Gary Lamb today. Yeah, it seems like they've got the right plan in action. They're going to take it slow, do it right. But they're going to bring in big name talents. They're going to bring in big, and when I say that, the guys who can work, the production's off the charts. People are there. People are there.
They had how many guys behind the production desk? 6 or 8 guys?
Rich Ward from Fozzy was behind there helping them with the sound, for crying out loud.
They had top end people focused on stuff. They had, they have those lights on tripods just so you can put the spotlight in the right place. The sound was clear as day. You could not have got better sound at a wrestling show. And that's the thing that I think is so important is when you get everything right and there's no problems and there's no hiccups and you meet all your cues, because you could tell everybody there was totally devoted to what they were doing. And everybody there wanted to be, working the show, and they're setting themselves up as a premier promotion to go to. And 2 shows, which is incredible.
That's what I was going to say. Within 2 shows, they have created such a buzz, and they are literally one of the hottest, promotions in 2 shows. How crazy is that?
Well, they're open to so many new things. Like Gary was like, y'all come do whatever you want. And there was another podcast there. Really nice guys, Main Street Podcast. It was a pleasure meeting them. And they were doing their thing out in the lobby, and we're walking around doing our thing and talking to people and setting stuff up. God, did I meet so many people. You can
go right now. If you're curious to see some of it, our twitch.tv /TappedOutPod, Facebook Live between your account, T.O. Myron Manager, and T.O. Nick McDaniel, and Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. We were streaming to Facebook Live. Was periscoping to our Twitter account @TappedOutPod. Yep. So there's video of this event all over the place. Yeah, YouTube. We did some stuff there. Across the board, we wanted to get it out there and let everybody see. And they do a phenomenal job, man. And we're hoping that we're excited. Big things coming out of Southern Honor Wrestling.
And I sat there, and one thing I can honestly say is I sat there and had a really good time. Not saying I don't have a good time at other shows, but I had a good time. I enjoyed what they were doing. I got a lot out of it, It was really good. I got a lot out of that show, and I don't think I made any mistakes. Of course, I will tell you one thing. Gary Lamb cut the hottest heel promo I may have ever seen.
And he's not even a heel.
Nope.
That's the funny part. He cut it on some people. You'd have to check it out. I think we're going to get a copy of that pretty soon.
Yeah, I want to break that down and analyze it.
So, well, speaking of doing some things right, man, we'll come back to Southern Honor the next few weeks. We'll be talking to them. I'm sure we'll have some guys on from there as well. But let's move on to Impact. That move to 10 o'clock, we talked about it last week. The good news is they did get a bump of about 7,000, so they're back over 100,000 people, 105,000 to be exact. People, please find it, DVR it, watch it within the, help the ratings, boost it. Cause
it's the same show you were watching last week or 2 weeks ago, and twice as many people were watching it. And I know people need to go to bed and people need to go to work. Well, DVR it, man.
That's why I said DVR. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to miss it. It's a good product, and I think they're doing a really good job, and they're heading in the right direction. We just got to, kind of is what it is, right?
Yeah.
The other I wanted to ask you, man. I know this week they started some things over New Japan. They started talking, more Wrestle Kingdom 13's coming up in January.
Yeah.
It's funny. And some of the matches they've announced are Kenny Omega, obviously, is wrestling Tanahashi. We already knew that was coming. They announced Chris Jericho's wrestling Naito, and of course Jericho comes back with he doesn't accept. They don't tell him what to do, which kind of cracks me up to say the least.
Yeah.
My question though was, does Wrestle Kingdom just not seem to have the buzz that it had last year?
You were saying that, and maybe it's too soon. Maybe it's like the WWE. They don't have they don't always have a buzz for WrestleMania 6 months or 4 months ahead of time, but they always manage to pull it out. And last year they were super hot. This year they're overhung by all the rumors that everybody's going to leave and go somewhere else. So I don't think that they're in any danger. And I'm thinking they're eventually going to get this, they'll get all this back. They'll get the heat back, but they're not going to be able to right now they're just not able to promote it like they used to.
Man, you're talking about those rumors. I don't know that. Here's the thing. We've said this time and time again. I think New Japan will be fine. They've got enough, Japanese talent and other guys there. Cause let's be honest, we all know at this point they clearly stated on the boat, on the Chris Jericho cruise, it's now the Elite and the Bullet Club is two different things. They are not the Bullet Club anymore. So if the New Japan owns Bullet Club, so it's not going anywhere. So they're always going to have that. So that's one way to look at it. But it could devastate Ring of Honor, in my opinion, if the Elite all left together. Because now the rumors are coming out that Hangman Page turned down his Ring of Honor offer, just like Cody and the Bucks did. And we're heading towards a date in January where all these contracts come up. Omega's included, all of them. It's going to be one big move, apparently. And I've said it time and time again. January will look like it's going to be a huge month. Yeah. Not for New Japan, not for Ring of Honor, not for WWE. It's going to be for a big month for pro wrestling, period, with what these guys decide to do.
We're at that stage where people can go out there and do different things, and they don't just have to sit in the WWE shadow and work on what they're doing. They don't just have to be on a WCW or WWE. They can put something together and do like MLW does and get it out there. Like, seriously, really out there onto the internet and get the production value and produce a wonderful product without having to have a network deal. And maybe they got a network deal. Maybe they got something you don't know. I'm dying to find out what happens. And I think it's going to be big. Like you said, it's going to be a huge month for wrestling. I don't even know what that means because it's crazy. There's so many variables. Not anything can happen. We're not in 1992. Anything can happen now.
And we're going to find out, man, because lots of things are changing. I mean, their promotions coming out of nowhere. I mean, you're talking about like, oh, maybe they have a TV deal. One of the hottest promotions that got a TV deal nobody saw coming has turned into one of our favorite promotions, and that's MLW.
Yeah. Yes. I like MLW. I like it's got a lot of personality. A lot of personality. It's got a lot of talent. It's got a lot of new talent. It's got veterans you recognize. It's got voices you recognize with Tony Schiavone calling the show. I really, it feels good. It feels old fashioned. It feels like studio wrestling to me.
Yeah, I love I know they do it. They've done some other places, but I love that venue they do in Orlando. It's small, and like you said, it gives you that studio vibe, but the crowd's really, really hot because it's diehard people that go to their shows. I mean, and they've got talent. There's no doubt, man. They've got, this new Heart Foundation. Everybody's jacked about that. But then you've got, Filthy Tom Lawler. You've got Shane Strickland. I mean, Darby Allin's coming in and out. I mean, it's on and on. Barrington Hughes, who, by the way, next week on Tuesday easy for me to say, on the network, we have an interview that Lewis just did recently with Barrington Hughes. But if you're a Patreon member, like like Seth Webb, who's our newest, main event guy who signed up for Patreon. He's out of Granite Falls, North Carolina. He can go right now and listen to that interview because we put it up a week early. So if you're a Patreon member, you don't forget, you get show prep. Like me and Myron before the show, we go on for about an hour. We load that video up to Patreon so you can kind of see us, how we prep a show. But then you also get cool things like interviews sometimes, depending on the interview, we release them a week early, a couple days early, whatever. You'll get those ahead of time, and then other cool stuff that we put on there ahead of time as well. But yeah, Barrington Hughes, I mean, another stud that's down there. I love Barrington Hughes. I love the character.
I can't go over too much about how much I like that guy. He's awesome. And think about it. They've done something with, I'm not going to say out of the blue because it took planning, but they did a lot and we weren't expecting it. What were you expecting out of a new promotion like that? And they just knocked it out of the park. And that's the newest thing about wrestling is, if you know what you're doing and you know business and stuff like that, you can really do good things today. MLW has a TV deal on the BN network. They run a show on Friday night. If you miss the show at 6:05 on Saturday night, guess what you get? The 6:05 show on YouTube. Love it.
I agree with you, man. I mean, MLW's hot right now. Court Bauer and those guys do a great job. I mean, Court always seems, no matter what he does, he has his act together. He used to run MLW before. I had a promotion years ago. Then he, had the network with all the podcasts on it. That was solid. I mean, just all that, he used to do Wale Mania. He was kind of running that show. Now he started back up MLW again. And just, like I said, I mean, it's one of the hottest promotions on TV. I don't even know that, some people are like, is it an indie? I'm like, can you call it an indie? They have a freaking, international TV deal.
Yeah, that's where we're getting to the point where do we know what to call these promotions anymore? They're not WWE or TNA Impact or Ring of Honor or New Japan, which are those guys indies? Is that something, do we know how to identify it? I mean, do we even know what to call those guys? So I think we're going to have to reassess how we look at wrestling right now because it's different. Everything's changing so fast. I don't know if we keep using these outdated terms, we're going to even be able to keep up with it and know what to call it.
Yeah, I mean it's complicated. I mean it's an evolving world of pro wrestling for sure. To keep up on it, man, I just always tell you, check us out every week, man. We're giving you the scoop on pretty much any promotion that we try to hit all the big news all over the world of pro wrestling, whether it be we're not prejudiced. It's WWE, it's Impact, it's Ring of Honor, it's New Japan, MLW, even down to the indies. We're trying to cover it all for you. If there's something you want to hear, something more that you want us to talk about, man, you can always email us at tappedoutpod@gmail.com. DM us at Tapped Out Pod. You can message us on Facebook at Tapped Out Pod. Mm-hmm. So if you see a theme coming here, guys, that's pretty simple. It's Tapped Out Pod everywhere.
Yep.
And then, hey, check us out. We do have a Twitch site. It is twitch.tv/tapped-out-pod. Everybody's been asking, so we finally just broke down and said, you know what? We all know that YouTube wasn't the most user-friendly thing for wrestling. They don't pay out for it, so nobody ever, you shouldn't, let me be blunt, you shouldn't be super huge pushing your YouTube channel, but we have one. It's just, youtube.com/tapped-out-wrestling podcast. You can find it. It's there as well. Subscribe. If you're going to subscribe.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We've never really been able to conquer YouTube. And that's why I'm really trying to create new content there. But it's not going to go anywhere as far as money because they don't monetize wrestling.
Right. But we still want to give them content. I mean, that's why you went out and, Shoots Fired. It's always available there first. On YouTube. So if you subscribe and you kind of see a trend going, if you subscribe on YouTube, there's going to be some content you get there first. If you like we said, like Seth Webb, if you become a patron on Patreon, you're going to get some exclusive content we only put there, like the show prep stuff, interviews early, so forth and so on. And then, it kind of, I guess this is where I was heading to is, if you were a fan of the Pro Wrestling Personified or you were the Guerrilla Press, we tried something and I'm honest. I sit here and tell everybody I own this one. We separated the feeds. We thought everybody, could follow their own, but it turns out, okay, that probably wasn't the right call. So everybody's coming back home. Everybody's going to come back to the main feed. So you're going to catch, even on the Patreon, it's going to be, everything's going to be on the one. Makes it real simple to follow. You come back to the one main one. If you're already listening to this one, it doesn't matter because you're already on the right one anyway. But Lewis is coming back. He's going to be our lead interviewer. He's going to handle that. Maybe do some specials. The Pro Wrestling Personified podcast, as you knew it, does not exist anymore. He's going to, be bringing on people left and right. I mean, like we just talked about, he's got Barrington Hughes next week. He had Sean Carr this week from Excite Wrestling, Upstate Wrestling, and by the way, he's debuting on Impact Wrestling at the next one night only pay-per-view that they're having. He'll be there as well. There's other names we know in the shoot that are coming that we can't give you. I'm just real big on not giving them until I have them, right? Until I have them.
I don't ever like to talk till I've got it on tape.
Yeah. So lots of big stuff coming. You can follow obviously him as well. But everything's going to come in-house, one feed, one pod, one Patreon, everything. Make life simple for everybody across the board. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there that is a change that it's actually made. I'm not even going to tell you it's coming. It's done. I've already killed the other two feeds. Everything's brought back on. As you know, Sean Carr was on this feed. Barrington's going to be on this feed. So basically it'll be this show and then lots of interviews and bonus, other style shows, which we are working on some things to change up. So, there's a couple cool concepts that we got out there. Hopefully everybody likes them. If there's a show that you'd like to hear, all those things we rattled off before, the email, all that stuff, do all of that stuff, shoot it over to us and let us know. That's just me, man. That's what I got. And I do want to say, by the way, you are listening to the 21st best wrestling podcast in the world. Check that out. It's on our Twitter. It's on our Facebook. See how that all went down.
And I mean, I don't mean to toot, but toot.
Yeah.
Shit, man. It's validation for everything we've done. I thank you. But, it's the fans that have given us all this. And I didn't talk about our new Patreon subscriber, but the thing I want to say is thank you for believing in us. I enjoy this so much. I love doing this. And when you reach out and you put your money in like that, you're saying, I value your effort, Myron. And I love that. And I really do appreciate it when people do stuff like that because it makes me feel good about myself and what we're working here trying to do.
Yeah. And
so thank you.
And we're always trying to give back. That's the beauty of it. We're always trying to figure out how to give back. So always feel free to let us know things you would like.
We've got a good give back we got going on. We're promoting with Cody McCulley from Total Action Pro Wrestling. Sorry, it's not Total Action. Total Aggression Pro Wrestling. They're helping out with the Caring Hand Ministries annual Christmas fundraiser. So you're going to get a great story with Cody, a really nice young man who's been in the wrestling business basically since he was in a diaper. and talking about what they're doing. And they've got an awesome card for a show coming up November 16th. That show will be out on Thursday.
Yep.
You'll also get a really good little short preview video on YouTube, and a lot of people have been circulating that, and I've been posting it back on Facebook. So thank you for all you do for us. And like Nick says, if there's anything you like more than others and you want to see more stuff out of us or different stuff, just let us know.
Well, man, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty much wrapped up.
That's all I got.
Well, man, what do we always say? If I got nothing, you got nothing, baby. What time is it?
Time to tap out.